Hey everyone, this is Run They Got Guns. Today is Sunday, February 27th, 2017. I'm going to go ahead and get episode 28. First things first, I'd like to say thank you to the developers of this game on their Facebook page. They gave me a shout out. They gave us, Hells Angels, a shout out in this page, this YouTube channel shout out. So I have to say thank you to them. Thank you to all my viewers, all my subscribers. I hope I'm doing you a good service. Today's episode, what I've been doing is I've been saving up war cards. Simply because in another couple weeks I'm going to try to push for gold again. And so what I wanted to do is go ahead and do an episode purely basically on war cards. Let me see here. If I go and click on there, it shows, I believe it should show you my war cards. Alright, so as you can see, I have a pretty good amount of buddy cards. I'm trying to get everybody saved up. I'm going to go ahead and just go in order that they appear on the screen, okay? So Airstrike. Airstrike does wipe out all units except for drones if they are cloaked at the time that the airstrike is called in. I've seen this with my own eyes, so I know that for sure airstrike does not wipe out the drones on the field, like I said, as long as they are cloaked on the field, okay? The big med kit, of course, big med kit, it tells you right there, it heals you randomly from anywhere from 25% to 35% of your total health during the next 15 seconds, I apologize. Cluster grenade that throws out three grenades at random at enemy units and the player. For this particular card, the cluster grenade, if the opposition player doesn't have too many units on the field, one of the grenades will more than likely, almost all the time, go over to one of his shields and do him some damage, so that's pretty good. Disarmed, I've shown you that in a previous video. It's really good if towards the end of the battle, actually at the end of the battle, you click it right as you play that card right as the shields explode, and he's forced to use his nothing but his pistol, so that's a pretty much guaranteed win as long as you wait until the end to play that card. The drone X52, it's a very, very, very good defensive drone. It's basically a defender on steroids, as far as the regular drones that you have to deploy at all times. The elite snipers, I believe that their critical chance or their hits always or most of the time are critical. I emailed the developers. Hopefully they'll give me an answer soon so I can provide you with the correct and precise information. But I believe that basically all their hits, or at least half of their hits, when they hit the opposing player, are critical damage hits. Mind your step. This is an explosive mine placed between any two shields. In my personal opinion, to use this one correctly, you should place it when they're at the end of a shield, either at shield position 1 or at shield position 4. Reason being, most of the time it spawns right next to them, so they're stuck behind one shield, especially if you like to use my tactic while they, with a lot of explosive troops, then they pretty much stay there and get blown to bits. Mr. Big Rocket. Very useful. He has a lot of hit points, and his rockets do a lot of damage. They pretty much annihilate shields with one hit, so that's pretty good. Rat-a-tat-tat. I do like them, but the only thing is, most of the time, 90% of the time, which I see, is they shoot at the shield, which, I mean, is fine and dandy, but, you really want them shooting on the sides of the shield to pin the enemy down so they don't get a chance to fire, but, that's just my opinion. The rocket turret, as far as the gold cards go, that is my favorite gold card, rocket turret, because that thing does some serious damage. I mean, that thing, I don't know exactly what the damage points are, that come accompanied with that, but it does a lot of damage. Shield Apocalypse, I've already done an episode on this. As you know, it does destroy shields even if the opposing player uses super shields. So Shield Apocalypse is pretty good. Just make sure before you use it to have your weapon's fully loaded. You don't want a Shield Apocalypse and then have to reload, because that pretty much negates the whole Shield Apocalypse thing. Speed of Slime is good to use. Once again, another card is good to use at the very, very end. Or if you have a lot of explosive troops that are doing damage to the player, go ahead and use the Speed of Slime, and he's not going to be able to escape the explosions, very quickly. Swift Immortality, that's another good card to use at the end of the match when you go into overtime, because you can just stand there and keep firing at the opponent, and it won't be no damage will be dealt to you. So that's really good. Ammo Box is one of my favorite cards because it gives you 25% of your total ammo for all of your guns, so that's awesome. Booby Trap, I don't really use it too much, simply because if you lay it out there, your troops can fire on it, and I don't know if it does damage to you, but I just like stealing as many crates as possible, and I don't know, I just don't like to use it. I usually donate this one a lot. Decoy, the silver card decoy. It places 3 dummy soldiers on the battlefield that will attract enemy unit fire, which is pretty awesome. I really do like that one. I used to donate a lot, but I've got to be using it more and more and more. Electric traps are awesome. For players that like to deploy a lot of rushers, whether they be swap troopers and or flamethrower units, you just leave those up, and each electric trap, it gets after a player's unit gets electrocuted by it, it goes away. So basically, you can zap 4 different troops, and you have to be behind the shield that has those electric traps. You know, say if you're at shield position 1 and those electric traps have already been fired, they're not going to fire again when a troop gets close to you. So remember, if you use up electric traps, hide behind them that are still active, because once they do shock the opposing player's army unit, they that's it, they don't function anymore, so you have to go back to another shield where it does have them working. Elite paratroopers, of course, you know, you guys have seen them, they deploy from the sky. I personally don't like them too much because, you know, even regular paratroopers, they're in the sky for quite some time, and it takes, you know, them forever to get onto the field, and you can pretty much shoot them down, as they're coming onto the field. Explosive pistol. If you have the 4th slot unlocked, if you purchase that value pack where it gives you permanent unlocking of the 4th slot, I suggest that you keep the explosive pistol in your cards available to you at all times. Reason being, if the other player uses disarm and you're forced to use your pistol, well, then you just play explosive pistol, and you know the next 3 shots are going to do some damage. I've actually taken out a Titan with just the explosive pistol, and I believe a couple of shots from my primary weapon. And also the explosive pistols take out swap troopers behind their shields with 1 shot, so that's pretty cool too. Freeze is another good card that you can use right at the end of the battle to freeze them in place. So your grenadiers and or your bazooka troopers will hit them when the shields, evaporate once you go into overtime. The Great Grenadier. Very good card. He does a lot of damage with his grenades. I don't know exactly what grenades he throws. Once again, I've contacted the developers to see if I can get the specs as far as how much damage they do and everything, but he is a really good card to use. Head-to-head, I don't use it too much. Actually, I really don't use it at all. I donate that one, but it enlarges the heads for 30 seconds and increases the chance of being hit critically to 30%, which is pretty good. I guess a lot of people do use it. I don't. Heavy turret is very good. I believe I've done an episode on that where I use the heavy turret, the rocket turret, and the regular turret as a very good war combination. Basically, a heavy turret is more of a defender, so is the regular turret, and the rocket turret just attacks the other side and just obliterates the shields and obliterates the player. Kevlar Up gives you an additional protection, 20% of your total health, which is really, really good. You can employ that any time in the battle, and you get an extra 20%. A lot of the time, some of the crates that come online into the battle also give you Kevlar, but this is a guarantee. Meatheads adds 50% extra health and damage to your next deployed soldiers. Remember, if you're going to use this one on elite swap troopers or anything that you want to, make sure that you use the card first. You have to deploy the card first and then deploy the next troops that you want it to affect, because it's not going to affect the ones that are already on the battlefield, okay? Medkit, this one instantly heals you 20% of your health. That's a good one. A lot of people like to use that. It's a fairly common card. Sabotage instantly destroys 1 random enemy mechanical armored unit on the battlefield. That is good when people deploy, when they have too many armored units on the field and you can't really take them out or you've ran out of rockets. Once again, this is another card that I suggest if you have the fourth war card slot unlocked, you keep that one with you at all times too. That one's pretty good. That one and the explosive pistol are 2 that I would suggest everybody has at all times in their war card selection. Like I said, just in case they like to deploy a lot of armored units and it gets a little bit too hectic, you can go and do that. Shields Up is a really good one. The armor of your shields is increased by 20%, and that's throughout the whole battle, so that's pretty cool. Especially if your opponent likes to use explosive troops like I do. Super Shields. All your shields become indestructible for the next 15 seconds. As I said, Shield Apocalypse negates that, and I've showed you guys in the previous episode, so just keep that in mind. But besides that, I think they are impervious to everything else. Backstab that instantly kills one random enemy soldier on the battlefield. This is good if this is good use against rushers, in my personal opinion. Unfortunately, it's completely totally random. It picks, I guess just by chance, but it's very good to use when people like to use a lot of rushers, especially flamethrowers, because you don't want them to get too close to you. Bullet sponge is pretty good. It has a small chance. That one I suggest also use at the end in overtime, because it has a small chance that incoming bullets will do you no harm, and it lasts for 1 minute, so pretty much the entire time that you're in overtime, it helps you not take damage. Critical Insurance, another good card to be played right at the end when there's no shielding, because basically half of your bullets, whatever you're going to fire, are going to be critical hits, so that's a pretty good one. Empty Mag is another good one to be used at the end. As soon as the shields are going to collapse, go into overtime, hit Empty Mag, and it forces him to reload. That's a really good one. Explosive Timing, that's another good card that I personally would say that you should stick in your inventory and have it ready at all times. Reason being, if they deploy a Titan or another heavily armored unit that you want to get rid of right away, you just click that, and there's no reload time, no cooldown time for your explosive rockets or your grenades. I like that one personally. Healing Storm is good. I believe I've showed you. Well, in case you don't want to use Super Troopers or Super Soldiers, I'm sorry, Super Soldiers for the 3-card combination where I showed you where it's Elite Swap, Kevlar for everyone, you could switch it with Healing Storm, and Healing Storm heals all the soldiers to 50% of their total health. That's a really good one. Healthier Myself, that's good if you want to use it just right away off the gate to get an extra 10% of health. That one's pretty cool. Kevlar Crate, it already provides you with crates of Kevlar sometimes, but if you need it specifically, go ahead and play this card, and your next crate will have Kevlar. Just remember that it's for the next crate, not the crate that's already on the field. Kevlar for Everyone, I've already showed you that one provides Kevlar with, for 3 random soldiers on the battlefield. That one's pretty awesome. I like to use that one. Minefield basically plants 3 lethal mines randomly on the battlefield. Now, I used to use this against rushers, but it doesn't really work against rushers. It just works to where the units on the field go and duck and cover, so it's not really good against rushers. Turret, as I said, I use that in one of the best war card combinations with a combination of a heavy turret and a rocket turret. Paralyze these, freeze 3 random enemy troops on this for next 10 seconds. This one is really good against rushers. If you have a lot of rushers on the field, especially flamethrower troops, you want to use that as soon as possible, and you can pick them off while they're further away. Plague. I'm going to actually save Plague for the next video because I want to talk to you a little bit about that. That's another one in my I'm going to do another war card combination video, and I think Plague is honestly one of the best war cards that they have, and it's awesome that they put it in the bronze because it's a lot more common for you to get. As you can see, I have 4 of them, which is pretty awesome. Shield Generator, the shield that you stand behind quickly regenerates. I don't really know exactly how this one works, so I can't really go into too much detail about that one, but it says that your shield regenerates quickly. Sickness, another thing. I'm going to go ahead and skip Sickness because I'm going to partner with Plague in my next video. Streak Boost, you've seen me do it with the airstrike. Basically, it makes it a lot easier for you to get crates within the next minute. You don't have to have as much kill shots, I guess, to get crates, and that's pretty good because crates sometimes have gold, they have war cards in them, they have all kinds of things. Super Soldiers, you see me use that with the Kevlar for Everybody, the Elite Swap Troopers, because it's plus 20% max health to all friendly soldiers for the next minute. Trigger Happy is another one of my absolute favorite war cards. 25% shooting frequency of all friendly soldiers. That one's pretty awesome. Turret Crate, same thing with the Kevlar Crate and Health Crate. Your next crate, not your current one that's on the field, will have a turret. And finally, the VL Upgrade, plus 20% max health to all friendly mechanical units for 1 minute. Basically, you want to play that when you have as many mechanical units on the field because it gives them a boost of 20%. So that's pretty much all of them. Like I said, in my next video, I'm going to go ahead and get into Plague, Sickness, and Trigger Happy. That's going to be the next combination. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this helps. Most importantly, you need to stay calm and war on. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.